Alright folks, welcome to another beer review, and this is a brewery that I've not seen for a while, Floc, and this is a can of Wishlist, which is a double dry hopped IPA at 6% ABV, brewed with Nelson Sauvin, Superdelic, Citra 2 is that, and Citra Cryo. Nice looking label there. Picked this up from House of Trembling Madness. Just finished watching, or I'm in the middle of watching, or revisiting Kitchen Nightmares UK. What a great series that was. And it's one of those ones where you can't even say, oh, I wish it came back, because it just wouldn't have that effect that it did. But yeah, really enjoying revisiting that. Just had a big bowl of mince and gravy because I lifted it out of the freezer and I realised I don't really have anything to go with it. So a couple of slices of bread, make yourself a mince and gravy butty. The fat life. We're not all made for it. Anyway, beer in the glass then. And it looks very custardy on camera. It looks a little bit more sort of paler. It's sort of like got a greeny orange hue, got a greeny yellow hue to it. From what I can see. Just shy of 2 fingers worth of nice foamy head. Poured it a little bit like a knobhead, but I am a knobhead. But yeah, looking very nice indeed. Yeah, I'm getting a real sort of like green, like a lime green juice vibe to it. Anyway, looks very nice. Let's see what we get on the nose. You're greeted with that sort of like grape-like aroma from the Nelson, first and foremost. Lemon meringue. And also like a lemon curd tart. This one's really nice, that. It sort of like goes from being a little bit grapey, slightly dry on the nose, to coming out a bit more of a sort of like tangy citrus aroma. A little bit of tropical hues in there as well. Can an aroma be a hue? I don't know, don't think it can. But yeah, this smells really nice, gentle. There's a little bit of a tang to it. Yeah, let's dive right in. Cheers, everyone. And that tanginess follows through on the flavour. The Nelson is definitely there. You get that slight dry, almost brutish character. A little bit of white pepper, grape musk. But then that subsides towards like the middle part of the sip, if you will. And then the real sort of like zesty, tangy citrus aromas, flavours come through. Not really like sweet citrus, more like the sharpness almost. Yeah, it's a little bit of a sharp, like sour sherbety sort of flavour to it. Like that, whatever they coat Tangfastics in. What is that sugar? Is it like sherbet? I don't know. But it's got a slight sourness, slight sweet sourness to it. And then the Nelson comes through again towards the back end, but doesn't finish too dry, which is very welcome. Superdelic, I've had a few beers now in quick succession that have that hop, but I still wouldn't be able to tell you what Superdelic actually does or what it imparts in a beer. But it's nice. Get a slight almost, maybe, and I could be very wrong, very wrong, but is Superdelic almost has some characteristics of like a tangy Simcoe to it. The sort of like white pepper flavour you get comes out a little bit more as you drink it. And dare I say it, there's almost a bit of salinity coming through. But yeah, loads of like genuine lemon lime character. Almost like a slightly less sweeter, like citrusy cordial, almost. Zesty and peppery, those are the two main components that I'm getting from this. It's far from the most intriguing or flavoursome or satisfying IPAs that I've had. But, and I know I've said that I'm not going to upload boring or just okay beers onto the channel. But there's interesting characteristics there that you don't really tend to get compared to some of the other IPAs that I've been drinking at this current time within the last few weeks. And I do really like it when these beers have something a little bit different. They're familiar but different at the same time. So that's why I'm going to keep this video up. I go on as if I'm like, what my opinions are just as keeping it with the chef theme, because I've been getting really like balls deep, not literally, but figuratively, with chefs like Gordon Ramsay and Marco Pierre White. So I've been watching a lot of, especially like archival, like chef documentaries and videos on YouTube and compilations. Started rewatching Hell's Kitchen, that season that Jim Davidson was unfortunately on, and we all know that he's somehow become a bigger prick now than he was then. But I was watching that, going off on tangent, watching the few episodes of that series, and I get this sort of like mid-2000s lad mag feel from it. Now, I'm not one of these people who will look back at a program or a film and say there are aspects that are problematic. I think that's utter woke nonsense. That's utter bullshit fuckery, right? Like, people going on about the kiss in Snow White should be, you know, like edited out because it's non-consensual. It's like, do you not understand the story? Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like, it's a beautiful moment. There's something poetic and there's something metaphorical about it. You know, it's the pure love basically revived a dead woman. Or was she in a coma? I don't know. But yeah, it's like these people who are like, oh, episode 5 from season 4 of Seinfeld. Oh, there's a clip 20 seconds in, and it's like, get a fucking grip. Do you know what I mean? Considering, you know, the genuine problems, you know, certain groups have in this day and age. It's like, really? But yeah, I was watching Hell's Kitchen, and there was some moments, especially, I think it's series 3, isn't it, where Marco Pierre White takes over. I always thought it started off as Marco Pierre White, and then Gordon Ramsay took over, and then obviously Gordon Ramsay, you know, shot up to, you know, the glary TV chef heights. But where the first episode where like the two teams, and Marco Pierre White's like, he's shaking hands with all the male contestants, getting into conversations, and he almost comes across as really dismissive when it comes to speaking to the females. And I thought, you could not broadcast something like that. And it's not even something like that's harrowingly awful. It's just a person who's got a set way of thinking, comes from a completely different era, from a world which I can imagine the chef world, especially throughout the 20th century, was rife with homophobia, racism, bigotry, loads of really ignorant opinions and, you know, shouting matches in the kitchen. But it just really struck a chord with me. I was like, that's actually, well, fucking hell. You know, but it is what it is. But, yeah, don't know why I've drifted off to chefs. All I remember saying is that I was balls deep into Gordon Ramsay and Marco Pierre White. If there was any money to be made by that, then who knows what I'd be capable of. But it is what it is. He's fucking cool though, isn't he? Marco Pierre White. Even now, even though he's like sort of mellowed out a bit, there's still something really, really striking and cool. Anyway, whatever that point was. But yeah, this is definitely worth having a go. From past experience with Floc, although albeit too limited for my own liking, I've had much more for my tastes appeasable and satisfying beers. How fucking condescending and wanky did that say, appeasable? Oh yeah, that beer was actually do you know what? It wasn't too bad. It was actually quite appeasable on the palate and to my, you know, hyper intensified tastes. But yeah, it's all right. But what I like about it, there's something a bit different. And the more I'm drinking it, the more I'm getting Haribo Tang Fastics brewed in a beer. Now, you'd usually take that concept and make a sour beer. But no, I'm getting real sort of. I want a pack of Haribo Tang Fastics, even though that's not my favourite Haribo. My favourite Haribo is the German version of the Smurfs. Well, I think they've got a couple of versions. The Schlumpfer, where it's like the, you know, you get the strawberry, big strawberry Haribos, and there's like a sort of like firmness to the jelly. Well, you could get the Smurfs, but with that consistency. I think the ones we get here are just like Haribo jellies. But why am I talking about Haribo? But yeah, it's Tang Fastics. Oh yeah, I was saying that Tang Fastics aren't my favourite Haribo. And hot take, but Super Mix is better than Star Mix. Mainly because there's a lot more firmer sweets in that. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, it's a Tang Fastic IPA, and that's what I'm getting. Body is medium. But yeah, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of Nelson, I think that's adding a bit of an edge to this beer. And maybe what's making it different, especially to my palate, is the utilisation of Superdelic with whatever Superdelic adds to a beer. Imagine reviewing beers online and you don't know what a hop is supposed to add to a beer. Welcome to the Casual Smokers Collective, formerly known as the Clueless Drinker. Anyway, if you've tried it, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. I really need to drink a lot more Floc. There was a time where like they were like really, you know, all this hype sort of brewery that came out of nowhere. I think they've still got a very good, you know, fan base and reputation, deservedly so. But you don't really tend to hear from them or about them that much. But then every brewery comes in waves, comes and goes. I mean, look at the likes of, you know, your Verdants, Cloudwaters, Deyers. They have their monumental highs, and then everything just teeters off for a little bit because someone else comes along, has their moment. Some breweries just like stay under the radar, but they're happy with that. How many different hand movements can I include in this video? I don't know. But yeah, so I'm going to watch the rest of Gordon Ramsay swearing at people who he's only just met. Imagine having that confidence. And yeah, go check out Floc. Give this a try if you haven't done so already, and any recommendations would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, cheers for watching. Thank you for bearing with me and listening to me drivel on. And yeah. Get the fuck out of my kitchen.